I never thought my life would become this story. The kind of story you hear about other people. The kind that makes you shake your head and think, how could someone do that? But here I am, 24 years old, 6 months pregnant, and completely alone. My name is Sarah. 3 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. I had a job I loved at the local library, a small apartment that felt like home, and most importantly, I had Marcus. Marcus was everything I thought I wanted in a partner. He was funny. He was charming. He made me laugh until my sides hurt. We'd been together for 2 years. We talked about the future all the time. I want kids someday, he used to say. A whole house full of them. I believed him. I believed in us. When I found out I was pregnant, I was scared. But I was also excited. This wasn't planned, but it felt right. It felt like the next step for us. I remember the day I told him. It was a Tuesday evening. The sun was setting through our kitchen window. I had made his favorite dinner, spaghetti with homemade meatballs. The pregnancy test was hidden in my purse. Marcus, I said, my heart pounding, I have something to tell you. He looked up from his plate. He was smiling. What is it, babe? I pulled out the test. My hands were shaking. We're going to have a baby. The silence that followed felt like forever. His smile faded. His fork clattered against his plate. Are you serious? He asked. I nodded. I'm about 6 weeks along. He just stared at me. No excitement. No joy. Just shock. This changes everything, he whispered. I thought he meant it in a good way. I was wrong. The next few weeks were strange. Marcus seemed distant. He stopped talking about the future. He stopped making plans with me. When I tried to talk about the baby, he would change the subject. We should start looking at cribs, I said one morning. It's too early for that, he replied, not looking up from his phone. We should tell our families. Let's wait a little longer. We need to think about names. Sarah, can we not do this right now? I started to worry. This wasn't the Marcus I knew. This wasn't the man who said he wanted a house full of children. I tried to give him space. I tried to be understanding. Maybe he was just processing. Maybe he needed time to adjust. But as the weeks passed, things got worse. He started staying out late. He said he was working, but I could smell perfume on his shirts. I could see the way he looked at his phone when he thought I wasn't watching. Are you seeing someone else? I asked him one night. Don't be crazy, he said. But he wouldn't look at me. I was 3 months pregnant when I found the texts. His phone was on the counter. A message popped up from someone named Jessica. Can't wait to see you tonight. I miss you already. My heart broke into a million pieces. I confronted him when he got home. Who is Jessica? I asked. He knew I had seen the message. His face went pale. It's not what you think, he said. Then what is it? He was quiet for a long time. Then he said the words that changed everything. I can't do this, Sarah. I'm not ready to be a father. I'm not ready for this life. So you're cheating on me? I never meant for it to happen. But yes, I met someone. Someone who understands me. I felt sick. Understands you? What about understanding me? What about understanding that I'm carrying your child? That's the problem, he said. I don't want this child. I never wanted this. Those words cut deeper than anything he had ever said to me. The next month was a nightmare. Marcus stayed in the apartment, but we barely spoke. The tension was suffocating. I would lie in bed at night, listening to him text Jessica. I would watch him get dressed to go see her. I was getting bigger. My belly was starting to show. But instead of feeling joy about my pregnancy, I felt ashamed. I felt unwanted. My friends started to notice something was wrong. "You don't look happy for someone who's expecting," my best friend Lisa said during lunch. I broke down and told her everything. About Marcus. About Jessica. About how alone I felt. "Leave him," she said. "You don't need that kind of stress right now." But leaving felt impossible. Where would I go? How would I support a baby on my own? My job at the library didn't pay much. I had some savings, but not enough. Marcus seemed to sense my fear. He used it against me. "You know you can't do this alone," he would say. "You need me." But he was never there. Not really. He was physically present sometimes, but emotionally he had checked out completely. I started having panic attacks. The stress was affecting my pregnancy. My doctor was concerned about my blood pressure. "You need to reduce stress," she told me. "This isn't good for you or the baby." But how could I reduce stress when the person who was supposed to support me was the source of all my anxiety? One evening, I overheard Marcus on the phone with Jessica. "I know, baby," he was saying. "This whole situation is temporary. I'm going to figure it out." "Figure what out?" I asked when he hung up. He turned around, startled. "Nothing. It was work stuff. I heard you call her baby. You were talking about me, weren't you? About us." He sighed. "Sarah, we need to talk." My heart started racing. I knew whatever he was about to say would change everything. "I think we should consider other options," he said. "What kind of options?" "For the pregnancy. It's not too late to, you know." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want me to get an abortion?" "I think it would be best for everyone." "Everyone? Or just you and Jessica?" "This isn't about her. Everything is about her now." I screamed. "You're asking me to end this pregnancy for another woman." "I'm asking you to be practical." "Practical? This is our baby we're talking about." "It doesn't have to be." That night, I called my mom. I hadn't told her about the pregnancy yet. I was waiting for the right time. But there was no right time anymore. "Mom," I said, crying, "I need help." The breaking point came on a Thursday morning. I was 5 months pregnant. I woke up to find Marcus packing a suitcase. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I'm leaving," he said, not looking at me. "Leaving? For how long?" "For good." The words hit me like a physical blow. "You can't be serious." "I am." "I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend to be someone I'm not." I started crying. "Please don't do this. We can work through this. We can go to counseling." "No, we can't. I don't love you anymore, Sarah. I love Jessica." "What about the baby?" He stopped packing and looked at me. "I'll send money sometimes. But I can't be a father. I won't be a father. This is your child. It's your choice to keep it, not mine." I begged him to stay. I begged him to try. I promised I would change. I promised things could go back to the way they were. But he had already made up his mind. "I'm moving in with Jessica," he said. "My name isn't on the lease here. You can keep the apartment if you want. But I won't be paying for it anymore. How am I supposed to afford rent on my own?" "That's not my problem." He zipped up his suitcase and walked toward the door. I followed him, pleading, "Please don't leave me like this. Please don't abandon your baby." He turned around one last time. "I never wanted this baby, Sarah. I never wanted this life. I'm sorry, but I have to do what's right for me." And then he was gone. I stood in the doorway, watching his car disappear down the street. I was 5 months pregnant, alone, and completely terrified. The weeks that followed Marcus leaving were the darkest of my life. I would wake up every morning hoping it was all a nightmare, but the empty side of the bed reminded me that this was my new reality. The silence in the apartment was deafening. No more sounds of Marcus getting ready for work, no more smell of his coffee brewing, no more familiar presence that I had grown so accustomed to over the past 2 years. Instead, there was just me and the growing life inside my belly, a constant reminder of the man who had walked away from both of us. I spent most days crying until I had no tears left, then sitting in stunned silence, trying to process what had happened to my life. The financial reality hit me hard and fast. Without Marcus's income, I couldn't afford our apartment. The rent was $800 a month, and my salary at the library was barely enough to cover that, let alone food, utilities, and the medical bills that kept coming. I had to make impossible choices every day. Do I buy groceries or pay the electric bill? Do I get the prenatal vitamins the doctor recommended or put gas in my car to get to work? The stress was overwhelming, and I could feel it affecting my body and my baby. My blood pressure readings at doctor appointments were consistently high, and the doctor kept warning me about the dangers of stress during pregnancy. But how could I not be stressed? I was facing the biggest challenge of my life completely alone. I had to find a new place to live, something I could afford on my single income. I spent hours every evening, scrolling through rental listings, calling landlords, only to be told that my income wasn't sufficient or that they didn't allow children. The rejections felt personal, like the universe was conspiring against me. My mom offered to let me move back home, but that would mean leaving my job and starting over in my hometown, where opportunities were limited and judgment ran high. The shame of returning home pregnant and abandoned felt almost as overwhelming as staying and struggling on my own. I found myself questioning every decision I had ever made. Maybe I should have seen the signs earlier. Maybe I should have been more careful about birth control. Maybe I should have chosen a different partner altogether. The what-ifs consumed my thoughts and made it impossible to sleep at night. I would lie in bed, feeling the baby move inside me, and wonder what kind of life I could provide as a single mother. Would my child resent me for bringing them into a broken situation? Would they spend their whole life wondering why their father didn't want them? These thoughts spiraled into darker territories, and I found myself questioning whether Marcus had been right about considering other options. But then the baby would kick, and I would remember that this little person was depending on me to be strong. They didn't ask to be created, but they were here now, and they deserved a chance at life and happiness. I started seeing a counselor at the community health center, someone who specialized in helping single mothers. She helped me understand that Marcus's abandonment wasn't a reflection of my worth or my baby's worth, but rather a reflection of his own character and limitations. She taught me breathing techniques to manage my anxiety and helped me create practical plans for moving forward. Slowly, very slowly, I began to believe that maybe I could do this on my own. The baby became my motivation to keep going when everything else felt hopeless. Every doctor's appointment where I heard their heartbeat, every ultrasound where I saw their tiny profile, every flutter of movement in my belly reminded me that I was already a mother, and mothers don't give up. I started researching resources for single mothers, applying for assistance programs, and reaching out to support groups. I discovered a whole community of women who had faced similar situations and had not only survived but thrived. Their stories gave me hope that my story didn't have to end in tragedy, that this could be the beginning of something beautiful rather than the end of everything I had planned. The apartment hunt finally yielded results when I found a tiny one-bedroom place across town that I could barely afford, but it was clean and safe, and it would be ours. I spent my savings on the security deposit and first month's rent, leaving me with almost nothing, but it felt like the first step toward building a new life. As I packed up the apartment Marcus and I had shared, I found myself letting go of more than just our belongings. I was letting go of the future I had imagined, the partner I thought he was, and the version of myself that had been so dependent on his approval and presence. It was terrifying and liberating at the same time. I realized that I had been living my life around someone else's dreams and desires, and now, for the first time in years, I had to figure out what I actually wanted for myself and my child. Moving into my new apartment felt like starting over. It was small, but it was mine. I painted the walls a soft yellow for the baby's room. I bought a used crib from a garage sale. I started to build a new life. My mom came to help me prepare for the birth. She didn't judge me. She didn't lecture me about my choices. She just supported me. "You're stronger than you know," she told me. "You're going to be a wonderful mother." Lisa and my other friends rallied around me too. They threw me a small baby shower. They helped me pick out baby clothes and supplies. They reminded me that family isn't just about blood or marriage. Sometimes family is the people who choose to love you. The day I went into labor, I was scared. Not just about the pain, but about doing it alone. But my mom was there. Lisa was there. And I realized I wasn't really alone at all. When my daughter was born, she was perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, and the most beautiful eyes I had ever seen. As I held her for the first time, I knew that everything I had been through was worth it. I named her Hope, because that's what she represented to me. Hope for a better future. Hope for love without conditions. Hope that sometimes the most beautiful things come from the most difficult circumstances. Marcus never came to meet her. He never called to check on us. He kept his promise to send money occasionally, but it was sporadic and came with no personal message. He had made his choice. But I had made mine too. I chose to love this baby with everything I had. I chose to build a life that didn't depend on anyone else's approval or presence. The first year was hard. There were nights when Hope cried, and I cried right along with her. There were times when I felt overwhelmed and exhausted. But there were also moments of pure joy. Her first smile. Her first laugh. The way she reached for me when she was scared. I went back to work when Hope was 3 months old. The library offered flexible hours, and my mom helped with childcare. We figured it out day by day. Slowly, I started to heal. The anger toward Marcus faded into indifference. I stopped checking his social media. I stopped wondering about his life with Jessica. His absence became normal, and honestly, it became a relief. I realized that Hope was better off without a father who didn't want her than with one who resented her presence. She deserved better than that. We both did. 2 years have passed since Marcus left. Hope is now a happy, healthy toddler who fills our small apartment with laughter. She doesn't know her father's name, and she doesn't ask about him yet. I know those questions will come eventually, and I'll be ready with age-appropriate answers that don't villainize him but also don't make excuses for his absence. I've grown in ways I never expected. I've learned that I'm capable of things I never thought possible. I can change a diaper with one hand while making breakfast with the other. I can function on 3 hours of sleep. I can make tough decisions without consulting anyone else. I've also learned about love in its purest form. The love I have for Hope is unconditional and fierce. It's taught me what real love looks like, and it's nothing like what I had with Marcus. Sometimes people ask me if I'm angry, if I hate Marcus for what he did. The honest answer is no. I'm not angry anymore. I'm grateful. I'm grateful because his leaving forced me to discover my own strength. It forced me to build a life based on my own values and priorities. It gave me Hope, who is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Would I change what happened if I could? I don't know. The pain was real and deep. The struggle was harder than anything I'd ever experienced. But it led me to where I am now, and I love where I am now. I've started dating again, slowly and carefully. But I'm not desperate for a partner anymore. I don't need someone to complete me. Hope and I are already complete. If someone wants to join our family, they have to add to our happiness, not fix some imagined brokenness. I look at Hope every day and see infinite possibility. She doesn't know that her beginning was supposed to be a disaster. She doesn't know that some people would have seen her as a mistake. All she knows is love and security and the promise of a bright future. That's what I want for her. That's what I'm building for both of us. If you've ever felt like me, you're not alone. If someone has abandoned you when you needed them most, you're not alone. If you're facing an unplanned pregnancy without support, you're not alone. If you're questioning whether you can handle whatever life has thrown at you, you're not alone. I know it doesn't feel that way right now. I know it feels like the world has ended and there's no way forward. I know the fear feels bigger than anything else you've ever experienced. But you are stronger than you know. You are capable of more than you can imagine. And sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads to the best thing that ever happens to you. Don't let someone else's inability to love define your worth. Don't let their abandonment convince you that you're not deserving of better. And don't let their absence prevent you from building something beautiful. You have everything you need inside you already. Trust yourself. Trust your strength. Trust that tomorrow can be different from today. And if you're carrying a baby right now, scared and alone, know that you can do this. However you choose to move forward, you can do this. That little life inside you chose you. They're counting on you to be brave, and you can be brave. Your story isn't over. This might just be the beginning of your most beautiful chapter yet. You're not alone. You're never alone. And you're going to be okay.